Next topic is HTML5 geolocation. So here we are going to talk about what is and why geolocation, and we are going to see how it works, and we are going to see how your browser actually figures out the location. So that is location data sources, which includes wireless as well as GPS and things like that. We'll talk about accuracy and privacy aspects of geolocation. We're going to take a look at geolocation JavaScript API. There are in fact two JavaScript APIs we are going to learn. And we are going to see how we can use maps like a Google Maps. Once you know the geolocation, how we can actually display that location using maps. And then we are going to take a look at some geolocation examples. What is and why geolocation? So geolocation is W3C standard JavaScript API, and again it's built into pretty much most browsers these days. And as of December, I should actually say 14, not 15. So if you go click caniuse.com, you can see the global support of this technology is about 90.47%, which is pretty good. So all browsers, again, except the Opera Mini, is supporting geolocation API. Geolocation API should provide an opt-out option to a user, because this is a pretty security sensitive operation. Not all users want to let their locations to be known to the world, right? So this is actually built into the specification, meaning every geolocation enabled application should ask the permission from the user. Okay. Again, this is to protect user privacy. This opt-out option can be configurable in browser settings, however. Okay, so like in Chrome, which we are going to see later on, you can actually configure in a way that once you grant the permission, then browser knows for that particular website, for that particular URL, it will always try to remember that you gave a permission and will actually proceed. Okay, geolocation typically provides approximate location, and in these days it's actually pretty good. Okay. If you need really high accuracy location, then you might have to use a native application, but the need for it is actually getting need to use a native application is getting smaller and smaller, because the browser's technologies, the way you implement geolocation underneath, is actually pretty decent in terms of the proximity. Geolocation use cases. Show users position in a map. Again, that's actually typically what you do. Once you go to a certain place, you want to know where you are first, and then you're going to actually find some interesting places in that location. Annotating content with location information, and maybe when you block something, you might want to actually specify, you might want to have your current location as part of the the data that is being posted or something like that. Turn-by-turn navigation obviously is a great example for the easy to think of example using the geolocation. Location text status updates in social networking applications, and auto selection of country, state, city, and zip code. So basically, when you are performing some kind of registration, the browser might actually detect your current location and fill out the the state and city and zip code for you. That's certainly possible by using geolocation information. Some sample application ideas. I mean, these ideas are already present at the moment, so this is not something new. So public transportation sites can list nearby bus stops and metro locations. Many cities are already actually offering these services, right? Okay. Late taxi service, again, Uber and Lyft and several other the commercial services are already actually taking advantage of geolocation information for you, right? shopping sites immediately provide estimates on shopping costs. When you pass by that particular location, it might actually give you some kind of alert of the discount or something like that. Content sites can more accurately determine the language and dialect of search queries, and the realist site, can pop up all the great deals around you, something like that. And Zillow is again doing this, right? Online games can blend reality into gameplay by giving users missions to accomplish in the real world. So games could be developed by taking advantage of the location information of a particular player, and that could be actually pretty interesting. Okay, in fact, there are game companies that are already doing this. Okay, let's see how things work underneath. So how desktop browser determines your location. So if you open Google browser, so let me actually open Google Map actually. So I'm going to just say Google Map. So in Google Map, you see this icon here. When you click this one, it will give you your current location. Okay, so open a Google location, and you should be able to actually find your location. Okay, and then you should be able to in Google you can actually control the settings. Okay, so again, let me just click this guy. You should be able to find it, and then you can actually go to the settings. And then you go to advanced settings. So this is the way that you are going to configure how your browser is going to handle maintain this the geolocation information. So on the privacy, you click content settings. Okay, and on the content settings, there is the location information. So here, these are the settings you can choose. So the first one is allow all sites to track your physical location. The default is ask when a site tries to track your physical location is recommended. It doesn't ask me because it's actually already I granted the permission in the past. Okay, do not allow any site to track your physical location. Now you can manage here. Okay, so I can just remove all this guy. Okay, and done. Now if I actually go back to the Google Maps, and if I try this, I should actually ask. Oops. Oh, it looks like did I clicked? So I'm gonna advanced settings again and content settings and manage. Yeah, so it's all gone. So I'm gonna just instead of this one, so I'm gonna just open another one. Google Maps. And if I now if I click this one, it still doesn't ask me. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, so it should actually ask me, because I deleted that. It should actually ask me the allow and the allow or deny. Okay, so but again, this is actually the geolocation, finding out the current location, and it should work on the browser as well as the mobile devices. Okay, so how the browser determines your location. Okay, so when you visit location-aware website, meaning when you access location-aware application like a Google Map application, browser will ask you if you want to share your location, meaning it's asking your permission. So if you say yes, if you select allow, browser gathers information using various means of the device that the browser can access, such as wireless access points if your machine has wireless connection, which in my case I have it on my desktop or laptop, or it could use the IP address. And again, we're going to talk about the various means of finding out the location information. And then browser sends this information to the default geolocation service provider, in this case Google Location Service, to get an estimate of your location. Then the location estimate is then shared with the requesting website, meaning in this case Google Map, and then it will display the map. If your wireless connection is turned off, for example, in your desktop, and if you are at the stationary computer like a desktop, then all calculation is based on IP address. Okay. Okay, so let's see how the browser can actually find location information through these location information sources. So the sources of location metadata could be the combination of these. It could be IP address based. Typically, it's going to use combination of this coordinate triangulation. It could be based on GPS. It could be based on Wi-Fi access point. It could be based on GSM or CDMA cell phone IDs. Or it could be actually based on user defined. Okay, but that's not really that much interesting. We want this automatic detection of the location information using typically this the coordinate triangulation technologies. So let's take a look at each of these technologies in a bit more detail. IP address based location data. So basically every machine has an IP address, right? Okay. So when your website, when the web application like a Google Maps receive the request, it knows the IP address of the sender. Okay. The pros of this approach is that it's available everywhere, right? So it's always available from the request. However, it has a significant downside. It might not be accurate. Okay, so in fact, the IP address-based location information, the granularity is a city level. Okay, so it doesn't give you more detail, any finer detail than the city level. And the IP address might be the one of the service provider or the company proxy. So if you're accessing the application through a proxy or service provider, the IP address might not reflect your own IP address on your machine, but it could be reflecting IP address of the service provider or the proxy, which means if you are going through your the application through company proxy, and if you're living in Los Angeles, the company proxy is located in New York City, then the location will say New York City, not the LA. Okay. The website select default language based. Yeah. So example of usage of IP address is actually whenever you go to different country, they actually detect the IP address and will actually display the language specific page. Okay. Okay, the GPS-based location data. This is probably the most popular way of actually finding location information. So device passively receives signals from multiple GPS satellites and computes its location. Okay, so this is the way how GPS works. Okay, the pros of GPS-based location data is high accuracy. The downside of the GPS-based location data is that it requires unobstructed view of the sky. Okay, so it usually works well on outside, it works well on outside locations. However, it might not work well when you are in forested areas or near tall buildings. So if you go to New York City in Manhattan, that's the reason your GPS is not really working well, because the buildings are blocking the signal. Okay. Might take a long time to get the location data. So these days GPS is actually reasonably fast enough, at least for driving. Okay, and it requires GPS hardware, of course, in order to use. Wi-Fi-based location data. So device computes the location using distances from multiple Wi-Fi access points. Okay, so again, it figures out the location of the device from the 3 different Wi-Fi access points. Okay, the pros of Wi-Fi based location data is high accuracy, and again it works indoors and is fast. Okay, compared to GPS. The downside is that it does not work well when Wi-Fi access points are scarce. Okay, so you need at least 3 access points. So if there are not 3 access points available in nearby, then it's not going to work. So in rural areas, it might not work. Same thing with the cell phone location data. So it computes the location using distances from multiple cell phone towers. Okay, so again, fair accuracy, works indoors and fast. Again, it has the same downside as the Wi-Fi. Okay, if cell phone towers are not available, then it might not work. User-defined location data. So you just provide the location-related data, address, zip code, and things like that to the application. Might be more accurate if more accurate, specific location data is provided. Downside, of course, is might not be accurate. The wrong data is provided. Okay. All right. So in general, your device, like your smartphone, will actually use a combination of these technologies. Okay. So in fact, a few weeks ago, I was in San Francisco, and my smart device was actually using just happened to be using just the GPS, and at that point, my wireless was disabled, so it didn't actually give the accurate location information to my Uber driver. So he actually missed me. So when I enable the wireless, the usage of both actually give me a concrete location where I was. So that's the way the device can actually have much better the location information. All right, so let's do exercise 1. So we're gonna actually try location information sources here. So let's actually go to the geolocation. So for those of you who have used JPassion.com contents, you download the zip file, you unzip the zip file, and you want to open the index.html file. That is a lab documentation. Okay. So I'm going to use this HTML5 lab documentation. Let's do exercise 1. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do exercise 0 later on. So you want to actually find out your IP address. So you can go to this website, and it actually, basically is actually sending IP address as part of the request, and it will actually display your IP address. So if I click this guy, my IP address is 114.111.71.163 or something like that. Okay, and so I'm based on location in Boston. Okay, and so that is relatively accurate. Okay, and wireless. So this site doesn't work anymore. So this site is basically lets you, on my location, it actually gave me a wireless signal strength. Okay, but this site does not work anymore. I think that actually another website somewhere that actually give you, wireless signal. Okay. It doesn't actually. So this is actually from Cisco, and it doesn't actually. Oh, from Meraki, it doesn't actually let you do that anymore. Okay. All right. So that's exercise 1. I'll give you just like 2 minutes to try this exercise. I want you to just find your IP address. Okay. Let's move on to accuracy. Let's just make sure we okay, good. Recording it. The factors influencing accuracy. So type of browser and its implementation, and type of device: phone, tablet, laptop, and desktop. Okay. Whether Wi-Fi is enabled or not, whether GPS is enabled or not, and internet connectivity is there or not, and whether you're going through with a VPN. So all these combinations might actually provide a different accuracy. Privacy. As I said, the HTML5 geolocation specification mandates that this privacy mechanism is provided as part of the application. So in fact, whenever you're using API, that privacy scheme is built in. So there is no way, you as a developer bypass this privacy scheme. Okay. So location information should not be available unless the user grants the permission. So there is absolutely no way that you can bypass asking the user to grant the permission. Okay. So when in this case, when you click this location information, the first thing is seeing the allow, whether you want to allow whether you want to grant the permission or not. So if you say allow, then permission is granted. And then it will be saved in the Chrome storage. And so next time you access it, that particular same application, in this case Google app, it will allow right away. Okay. Okay, geolocation API. So there are two geolocation API. One is APIs. One is one-time request, and the other one is a repeating position request. Okay, so the first one-time position request is called the get current position, and repeating position request is called the watch position, and it actually returns long so that you can turn off, repeating position request. Okay. Then it could actually receive 1 to 3 arguments. Okay, so this is a successful callback. This is the error callback, and this is the options. And these two are optional. The first one you have to provide. Okay, but these two parameters, second and third parameters are optional. So let's take a look at each of these in a bit more detail. So this is one-time position request. So get current position takes the 1 or 2 or 3 arguments. Again, second and third arguments are optional. Okay, so when called, it must immediately return, then asynchronously attempt to obtain current location of the device. So when you call, so so if you take a look at this code, we are checking whether the browser supports this geolocation or not by looking at the geolocation, presence of geolocation property of the navigator object or not. If it is present, that means the browser supports the geolocation API. Again, this is not really in a good way of actually detecting whether geolocation is supported or not. Instead, you want to use a modernizer JavaScript library. Okay. Now here we are calling get current position method of this geolocation object. Okay, and here we are passing two the functions, the first and second argument. The first one is successful callback, and this is the name of the function which handles the error. Okay, and here we are actually displaying things using Google Maps, and you're going to take a look at these APIs in a bit more detail. Okay. Alright, so this is an example of get current position, one-time position request. Repeating position request. So here in this case, you are going to call watch position method, and it returns watch ID. Okay, and then again update location is a successful callback, and this is the error callback. Okay. And once you got the then update location function, you do whatever you want to do. Later on, you can stop receiving location updates by calling clear watch method by passing this watch ID that was returned. Okay. Alright, so watch operation must first attempt to obtain current location of the device. It then must continue to monitor position of the device and invoke the appropriate callback every time the position changes. Okay, so if you happen to have a device that doesn't move, then it will not call this update location. It's not timer based. It's actually based on the movement of that device. Okay, so if the device doesn't move, then you're not going to actually, this update location is not get called. Okay, so watch operation must continue until clear watch method is called with the corresponding this watch ID identifier. Okay, so relatively straightforward API. Third argument is the optional request parameters. Okay, so these are the options. Okay, so the first option you can specify is enable high accuracy. It requests HTML5 geolocation service to use higher accuracy detection mode if available. So basically true or false. Timeout. If the timeout tells the browser the maximum amount of time it is allowed to calculate the current location. So if you set it for 2 seconds, and if the successful callback does not get called in 2 seconds, then that's an error condition. So error handler will be invoked. Okay. Maximum age is how old location information will be maintained before the browser will try to attempt to recalculate. The default is 0, meaning every time every time you ask the browser to get the current location, it will try to recalculate immediately. Okay. Position data return. So these are the result that is returned from the location service. So latitude and longitude. So in decimal degrees. So it's basically geographical location. It could return altitude, which is height of the position. It could also actually return accuracy level of latitude and longitude coordinates. So values returned by the implementation should correspond to 95% confidence level. Same thing with the the altitude accuracy. Okay? Yeah. So this confidence level, this is a little bit subjective. It could also return heading attribute, where things are moving forward, which direction. It could also give you the speed attribute, but these two are not being supported in current implementation of location services. Okay. You can also compute this, by using watch positions. So if you have a multiple watch position, the position, you can certainly find out how long it takes from to move from one location to another location. So you can find out the speed as well as you can find out the direction. Okay, so these things could be computed by the developer, or you can actually ask for it. But for now, nobody is supporting it. Error codes. The three error codes are built in. One is permission denied. Okay, so if a user denied does not grant the permission, then it's a permission denied error. Position unavailable. So if somehow the location provider cannot actually provide the location information, then it's a location position unavailable error. And timeout. It depending on the timeout that is specified as an optional parameter number 3. If timeout occurred, then this is the timeout error. Okay, so we're going to actually try all these things in our lab exercise. All right, so let's do exercise 0 and 2. So exercise 0 is actually setting things up. Okay, so let's go to setup. The reason we actually running our own HTTP server is because of single origin policy constraint. Okay, so if you're trying to access HTML file directly, and then if you try to the access of things so basically we're going to talk about the single origin policy issues in detail later on when you cover the messaging. Okay, so unless you actually getting these things, everything from the single server, then you're going to actually experience a single origin policy problem. So that's the reason we have to actually run our own server. Okay, so basically what you have to do is go to I'm going to actually use this guy. So I have this geolocation, and then what you want to do is you just run this run HTTP server bat file or .h file. Okay, if you're using Mac or the Linux. Okay. All right. So I'm running my own HTTP server on port 8000. Okay. Another way to work, another workaround is if you're using Chrome, you can actually, add disable web security. Okay, so so this is actually asking Chrome to disregard any security constraints, single origin policy security constraints. So this is another option, but it's not recommended. Okay, so just use this HTTP server. Okay, so if everything is coming from a single server, then single origin policy, should not cause a problem for you because everything is from a single origin. Okay, so let's go to exercise 2. So let's go to exercise 2. So in this case, we are going to access this page, geolocation 08 simple HTML file. Okay, so I'm going to just click this guy, and then I'm going to click. And then it's asking me to user's location. I say allow. Then it gives me latitude and longitude. Okay, so that's basically what happens. Okay, and if you take a look at the code, okay, so basically we are getting. So this is the function. So if you take a look at this code, so call this function when the page is loaded. Okay, so this is location is this location. This is where we want to display the result. Okay, and when you click the button, it will call get location function. So get location function just check whether your browser supports geolocation API or not. and if it does, then I want to call the get current location, and I'm passing a function which is the success callback. So this is the show position, and this show position callback will get the position as an argument. Okay, so this, basically we have the coordinates property which has latitude and longitude. So we are basically displaying those two. Okay. Next one is, we want to display all the data in this position. Okay, in this position that is actually being provided by the location service. Okay, so if I click this guy and click this one, you can see I have a latitude and longitude, and then I have an accuracy, and then altitude and altitude accuracy and speed, they are not provided. Okay, so I have a 3 information available. Okay. So if you take a look at the code, basically we are just displaying everything, longitude, latitude, as in the previous exercise, and in addition we are displaying altitude accuracy, and the speed. Okay, and then we also actually convert the timestamp to readable format. Okay, so that is so this time. Okay. So let me just try one more time. Yeah, so this is the December 17th. Okay. All right, so that is exercise 2. And error handling. So in this case, you're going to handle the, we're going to try the deny. Okay, so now if you click this guy, okay, it doesn't. If you click, it doesn't give me access the allow and deny, right? So in that case, you have to go to the settings and remove. So go to show advanced settings, and then go to the contents settings on the privacy, and then you go to location here, manage exceptions, and again this is allowed, okay, because I granted permission. So you have to actually remove this guy. Yeah, remove this guy, and done. Okay, done. And then if you try this one, it should yeah, it's actually still, it looks like it's actually yeah, in that case, yeah, it looks like I still remember the previous settings. So in that case, I think you probably have to open the new tab. So I'm going to actually open new tab and then open that page and then try again. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and error handling. This time, if I click this guy, yeah, now it actually asking me. So if I say deny, then the user denied the request for geolocation. So that is actually from the error handling. So if you take a look at the error handler, so here we are actually passing second argument, which is a show error handler. So that is a show error handler here. And if there is a permission denied error, okay, then basically I want to just display user denied request for geolocation. Okay, you might want to actually send, you might want to actually change this guy and try again, like a user denied, and put your name here. Okay, so in my case, I'm gonna just yeah, I already have that guy. So that is the exercise 2 geolocation is this guy. That is the code is 01C. So 01C is this guy. So this error handling. So I'm gonna just change, put your name here. Sang Shin denied. You save the change, and now if you actually click this guy and click me, oh, okay. So again, it knows that browser knows that I denied. So again, I have to go to the settings, and advanced, and then privacy content settings, and location, manage location, and yeah. So now it's behavior is blocked. Okay, and then done. again, you know, the you have to actually open the brand new one. So just open index, and then again go to exercise 2, and error handling. This time if I click this guy and click me, it should actually say deny, then it should say Sang Shin. Okay, so that's an exercise. You want to actually, you know, make a change and see whether that reflects the change. Okay, so that is 2.3. The third one is the timeout. Okay, so here we are going to experience timeout case. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to be able to do that, because you probably cannot do that either, because you know, you are going to actually disable the internet connection, and you know, then it will actually time out. Okay, so you know, you do this exercise later on. Okay, because you do not want to disconnect your connection. So here, basically, what we do is that you know, we are basically setting the options. So timeout is 2 seconds. Okay, and maximum age is 1 second, and then we are passing options object. Okay, so when I click this guy without the internet connection, then it will actually time out, and then it should display request get user location timeout, that error condition. So if you take a look at the code, you know, this timeout case is, yeah, this one, it should be displayed. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes, and let's have a 10 minutes break. So we'll be back 5 minutes to 12. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to use maps. You know, just getting the latitude and longitude, the values are not that much interesting. You know, we want to use that information to display the current location using maybe Google Maps. Okay, so the maps could be a Google map, a Bing map, or Yahoo map, or Nokia map. So there could be actually multiple map resources. All right, so we're going to do exercise 3 and 4. Okay. All right, so yeah, let me actually finish up the presentation, and then we'll do the lab. Geolocation examples. So again, Uber or Lyft is actually a great example where geolocation is being used. You know, here I'm located in this location, and if you ask for the code, you can see, you know, there are multiple cars, you know, ready to give you a ride. Okay, so this is Uber. I'm sure you have used Uber, and this is Twitter. You know, so whenever you ask the posting to a comment, you know, to display the location, then it will actually, whenever I display the location, it will also say where the posting is done. Okay, so these are examples. All right, so let's take a look at the exercise 3, which is using Google Maps. So first we are going to use a static map, and then we're going to use interactive map. Okay, so typically, you know, we are used to using in this interactive map, and then we're going to try the Bing map as well. So 3.1, we are going to use a static map. So if you click this guy and click me, and I say allow, and so this is actually very static map. You know, just display, you know, where I'm located. Okay. Click me, and it doesn't actually have anything interesting. I cannot move this guy. I cannot, you know, scale it. So this is not that much interesting. Okay. And so we're gonna actually use the interactive Google. So let's take a look at the code first. Okay, and then we're gonna move forward. So the way that you are going to use a map in this case is that, you know, you're gonna create basically you are going to create a string which has a latitude and longitude. Okay, and then you are going to call this you know, the Google Map URI, and you specify the center location using this string, and this is the you know, the zoom, and this is the size, and sense of also, you know, basically I'm actually using this you know, so basically I'm just displaying the map. Okay, so the image image will be returned, and we are basically displaying that image. Okay, it's very simple. So that's not that much interesting. What we want to do is click, and we want to actually do some interactive Google mapping, and that's basically what you're used to. So in this case, click, and you can see my location is, you know, the this jumping icon, and I can move around, and I can scale it. like this, okay, like this, okay. So this is what we used to, okay. And then I should say, if I click this guy, what did I say? Okay, so that doesn't seem to be okay. So that's what you have. Oh, you're here. So if I click that, if I actually leave my mouse over here, then it will display the message. Okay. And you can move around. So again, if you take a look at the code, okay. Here we show position is actually being invoked when the location information is successfully retrieved. And then again we have a latitude information, longitude information, okay. Again, and then we are going to create Google Maps.lang lat_lang object, okay, using latitude and longitude information. And then the map holder, that map holder is the location here. This is where we want to display the map, okay. So that is a map holder ID, and then we want to set the size of the map, okay. And then we have set the my options before we create the Google Maps.map object. The center is this location and zoom is 14. Map type is road map. Okay, so you can change this map type to something else. That's your exercise. Type control is false, and the navigation control style is small. Okay, so then when we create the Google Map project, that's what we're actually passing as an option. So and then we also create a marker. So marker is in this case the animation bounds, and the title is you are here. Okay, so you might want to change this guy to specify, Sang Shin is here or something like that. Okay, so that's actually what. So here, yeah, if we in fact go over here, this is the various map type. Okay, so map type, we are using right now the road map. So I want you to change it to satellite or hybrid or terrain. So whatever of your choice. Okay, change it and see what happens. And this is what you are going to see. Okay. 3.3 is, this time we are using Bing instead of the Google map, and as you can see, Bing is not that much attractive, as it's not as attractive as Google Maps, I have to say. Okay, so basically, pretty similar code. Happen to be using the Bing. So in this case, yeah, so the code is pretty much the same. So VE map object. Okay, so try that out. Exercise 4, now we are going to actually try to use the watch position. So use if you click this guy, you can actually see start watching. And now what happens is that because I'm not moving my device at this point, it's not going to actually redisplay, right? Okay, but if I move my mouse, if I actually move my laptop to some other location, then this will be reflected. It will be changed. Okay, stop watching. And so you might want to actually try that out if you can move around. Okay, let's see. And the code is pretty much the same. So here we call watch position, and then what gets returned is watch ID. And if you click the stop, it will call the click watch method here, and click watch method will call clear watch method, passing that watch ID object. Okay. And this one is basically is trip meter application. So it's actually computing the starting location and the ending current location. So again, if I move my laptop around, then it will actually compute the distance that I moved my laptop. Okay. Okay, so that is what's happening, and the code is again pretty much the same, and this is the calculate distance. How it is calculated is not that much important. Basically, this calculate distance is actually being invoked, okay, whenever the this watch position function is actually get invoked. Okay, so yeah, so that's basically watch position function call gets invoked every time the location has changed. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you guys about I'll give you about 12 minutes to do this, and let's have a 30 minutes lunch time. Okay, so let's be back 12:50 Eastern time. Okay. All right, and of course, if you can do the homework exercise, that'll be good.